alarm interrupted me. Anyway, just saying good morning, and I'll check in with you guys in a bit because I am going out of town today and potentially going to stop by and do a little electrical switch change out on the way home. Yesterday I was at an apartment just doing a little repair to a cartridge in a very old tub shower cartridge. The gaskets had gone bad. It was basically just leaking water all the time. So I replaced the two gaskets, the hot and the cold, and that kind of stopped it. But when I put the cartridge back together, you know, there's like a few little clicks you can position it on, and I was just making sure that the problem had pretty much ceased. And we had some issues. Well, I had some issues with the shut-off valve outside. That was fun. I wish I had filmed that. But I was really under the gun to get things done and get out of there and pick up the kids from school because my mom was out of town. So there I was, an hour away, and no joke, I didn't have my tool to shut off the city water, but I had a wrench. I had a bunch of wrenches. So I used the wrench, and I noticed that the whole, so like, you've got the pipe going into the house, right? And it's got the meter on it where you can read the numbers, and it's got, you know, the little triangle that spins when the water's on. So when he turns on his water, you know, there was 4 apartments on that side, 2 lower, 2 upper. And when he turned on his water, so I had all 4 of them open. When he turned on his water, it would start spinning. And I was like, okay, that's the one. But I noticed there was some movement. When I was going to switch it off, the whole thing would kind of move. And I was like, well, that's funny. And I shut it off and I messed with the thing. And I come back to turn it back on, and no joke, on the other side, so like the shut off was closer to the street on this one. On 2 of them, it was on the apartment side, and then on the 2 outer, it was on the street side, which, whatever. And when I turn the water back on, it starts just gushing water, and I'm like, what in the hell? So I, you know, dig the mud back, and I see a gasket, and I was like, oh, great. So I start tightening down the line to get it to shift over that gasket, and it did, and it was sealed up and it's all fine now. But one of those moments that you wish you could be filming, but I literally had no time, and I showed up to the school 15 minutes late. They let me get away with it, so that's good. Anyway, talk to you guys soon. Oh man, yeah. Oh, that's a bummer. no, it's worse than I thought. Oh, that's 2 trucks. Holy. Oh, now I feel really bad for them. Okay, that's worse than I thought. So on the radio, they said it was a crash with injuries. Obviously, any ambulances are out of here, and there's very few people remaining. So, both of those trucks did not. I don't know if I was able to pick up both in the camera, but you could see one was back in the woods. I don't know how that larger truck ended up on that side of the road, but I mean, you get a foggy morning and you get a truck with a bunch of lumber on it, which clearly you saw the amount of lumber on both sides of the road. That's a bad day. That makes me sad. Okay, I'm gonna cut this camera off, but yeah, that's, man, I hope they're all right. That breaks my heart to see, especially when I see somebody who's either in my field or a related field. Like, one of those trucks was likely transporting the lumber, but the other truck appeared to be a work truck. So I'll see. I'll look back at the footage and see when I get home. So this is more similar to the type of fog we were looking at on the way, except the whole road was engulfed in it, so you really couldn't see the cars in front of you. Not really. I'm just trying to, I guess, illustrate a little bit better what those trucks were contending with. And true enough, I will look at the footage and kind of see what I think happened. But like I said, with having the transport truck on the westbound side facing east is a little baffling, but it does explain why there's a work truck that was heading west in the woods that is, a little crunched up and way off the road. Like, you can barely see it as they're coming into frame. You see the transport truck, and then if you look to the left, you see the work truck in the woods. But as I'm going by it, you don't see it at all because it's pretty much blocked by not just passing cars, but the transport truck itself. So, I mean, on the way to school, my 15-year-old, he's got his permit, and he wanted to drive, and I had only been outside a few times, and it was dark. What is happening to my throat? I did not even see my exit. The Silverado, it was white, and I had it for less than 2 weeks when we were loading it up to bring things to the dump, because at that property we did not have trash pickup. And you could buy a dumpster for the end of your driveway, but I wasn't willing to pay that because we wouldn't fill it. We didn't produce that much garbage. And I mean, we're talking about 1 adult and 2 kids that just don't produce a lot of trash. So it was kind of pointless to have a dumpster that gets emptied, I think once or twice a week. I don't know. I can't remember. It was at least once a week, but it was pretty expensive. So I would just load up the bed of the truck and drive things to the dump however often I needed to, and which was usually about once a month. So, and the tailgate got dented, and something happened to that, like, God, the 2nd day, 3rd day. Now, the only good news about that was they had put the wrong tailgate on my truck. I had a backup camera in the truck I bought. The tailgate is where the backup camera is. And for whatever reason, when they did the bed liner in my truck and took my tailgate off, they must have put it down next to someone else's without a camera. Because when I picked up my truck, it no longer had a backup camera. And I got all the way home before I noticed. And I called them. And I said, hey, so I brought my truck in for the bed liner, and the backup camera's gone. I said, where's my tailgate? So they set up an appointment for a few days later to give me back my tailgate, which they could no longer do because now they had put that on someone else's truck, and that truck was gone. So they had to take the tailgate off of a new truck on the lot. It was a shit show. Oh man. I mean, I don't know how that happened because they had my truck for like 2 days doing that bed liner. How you can make such a careless mistake when you've got 2 days to check your work. Like, don't give me an appointment and then keep my truck for 2 days and follow it up with, whoops, we gave your tailgate away. So I didn't feel bad about bringing back a dented one, because if I'm going to be completely honest, it already had, and I filmed and took photos of this thing when it came home. I drove straight home, and then when I walked around the truck to go inside, I just happened to glance over, and like I said, it had white paint. So when there's a scratch, it stands out. You see it. It was already dented and scratched, and I was like, ow. And that's when I noticed, that's not my tailgate. And then I start looking for the camera, and I'm like, well, that's gone too. Yeah, that's definitely not my tailgate. So, yeah, I mean, that's, oh, God. I gave them a bad review with the Better Business Bureau. And I tell you what, the general manager got a hold of me so fast. Wrote me a check for $1,000, set up the window tint, basically begged me, what can they do to get me to retract my complaint with the BBB? And because I was pissed. There was a lot of reasons to be angry. Anyway, it is what it is. I think I've mentioned this before. I kind of live in the middle of nowhere, but I just have to say real quick, I have never run into that many cars at this time of night. The police presence up here, I'm in North Florida. The police presence has been heavy today, according to my kids and my niece's nephew. Well, my nephew doesn't know, but my nieces definitely said the police were going up and down driveways, and I just passed like 2 cops and a very heavy vehicle. I don't know what's going on, but I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like, this is okay. It's dark, so I can't show you anything, but literally, I cannot see anyone's house. I'm pulling into my driveway, and I see nobody's house. And now I can see my house. But barely, and only because I have these little lights on the front porch. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I'd say something because I don't think it has to do with the BRIAN laundry, whatever thing, but oops, I just put it in reverse. Okay, I'm gonna open the gate. Jeez, what a day.